Welcome to Chronic Health Collective, where we empower you to transform every area of your life. We've gathered the best coaches and experts in the world to bring you weekly insights that will elevate your physical, your mental, and your spiritual well-being. Whether you're looking to boost your energy, heal relationships, or live a more productive, balanced life, we're here to guide you every step of the way. My name is Minna, and in this episode of Chronic Health Collective, we have Amanda Beth with us. Now, discover the life you deserve with Amanda. Amanda is a best-selling author and energy healing expert. She is dedicated to guide you through self-discovery and wellness. Now, after her own incredible transformation, Amanda uses intuitive energy healing techniques to help break free from limiting beliefs. You can peel away the layers with her support and become your authentic self. So join Amanda Beth in reclaiming your empowered life as she empowers spiritual transformation through energy healing and discover recovery. So let's bring Amanda back onto your screen. Hey, Amanda.
Hey, Minna, it's so good to be here. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm so happy to have you. So, Amanda, why don't you tell our audience about yourself?
Oh my goodness. So I live here in the Midwest where I've grown up most of my life, and I've been through a lot of the same hurdles that a lot of people have, but I didn't give up. When I hit those hurdles, I just looked at them as obstacles and challenges and made better decisions about my life and was able to steer my life to where I wanted it to go. And that happened pretty successfully until I had just enough changes that wasn't happening anymore. And I needed to do something more to get through that. And I think that there were several things that happened. And one of the bigger events that stuck out to me was going through a divorce. And then it just really felt like my whole life just fell out from underneath me. And in the process of rebuilding my business and looking at ways to promote it, I ran into another energy healer, and I didn't know that's what I was doing. I was coordinating alternative healing methods and working with another alternative healer to see how we were promoting our business. Because at the time, I was really working to promote my float spa, which I still have the float center. But I was really looking at springing this forward, and in the process came across another intuitive healer and realized this is what I needed. I needed to realize how much help I really needed to have. I needed to get a handle on this. And from there, I was able to really skyrocket the progress in my life and move forward and do incredible things. And going through that process, just like so many things in my life, it's like, oh, this is really great and wonderful. You need to try it. It's the same thing. Going through that healing process made me such a whole person that I went on and I got the training, I did the certification, and I've continued, always training, always learning. But knowing that I can help other people, you don't have to stay stuck. If life feels like it's miserable, then reach out to someone. Reach out to me, find a therapist, find your bestie, find someone. You don't need to live that way, and we can certainly make life better. And so that's what I do now. I'm an intuitive healer.
Well, I can definitely see how I can get the energy from you that you're an energy healer. So let's backtrack a little bit. I want to know about, you mentioned your divorce, and I hate to say it, divorce is very common these days, and it is an energy drainer. So how did you manage to get through that stage when there are a lot of other people that it just stuck in the face of regret and victimization? How did you get yourself out of that phase?
Well, I think that one of the biggest things, and when I do work, because I am also a divorce coach, so when I work with people in that whole divorce realm, it's realizing that you're not a failure. When you leave one job and you go to another job, it's not because you failed and you loved your job. You worked there for years. And so just kind of putting in that perspective of how we look at things and how things really are or are not going on. And so being able to, first of all, let's put it into perspective. what does this really mean for you, and what do you want to do? And I think that helping people to see that oftentimes this is an opportunity for you to create more of what you want to do in life. So many times we've had our head down, we've done what we're supposed to do, and we look up one day and it's not what we thought it was going to be. And that's not because we're a failure. People grow apart, we grow, they grow, and sometimes it just doesn't work. And so being able to help people to see that, and hopefully before they're at rock bottom, and not necessarily going through the thick of divorce. I was talking with a girlfriend the other day, and it's like, when you're in that process of going through that, you're very concerned about all the legal things and all the things that need to step into place. But when the burden of that is over, what are you left with? And so I'm here to help you move forward. Let's find out what your goals are and how you can achieve them and keep as much normal in your life as you can while you learn new skills.
That's an important point, that when people go through any kind of life phases, like a divorce is a big one, a lot of people just think about all the legality issues, all the logistics. They don't think about what they're left with after. So yeah, you have a great point. And Amanda, we've talked to each other a few times, and you strike me as someone that is funny and creative. So tell us, how would you use these qualities to help your clients discover, I guess, how do you use that to help your clients for your energy healing?
So I think humor is really important. If we can't laugh at ourselves, we'll probably cry a lot more. And so sometimes finding those little tiny pieces that give us something to chuckle about, something to snicker on, and allow us to then reframe it. So we do a lot of reframing, and even something as mundane as going down to the pharmacy to pick up your prescription. Well, relabel that. You're heading down to the apothecary to get your remedies. Doesn't that sound more like fun than saying I'm going to CVS? Put the fun in your life. Find that enjoyment. Find what brings out the passion for you. What are you passionate about? What do you want to enjoy in life? And so finding fun in those things. And I'm a very off the cuff person. And when we do energy healing, I can't prepare for my session with you. We're going to prepare with the energy that you bring into that session. And we're going to work from there and see where we go. And there are some times when you just want to yell and scream. And if you can find a way to laugh at yourself, you can bring that positive energy. I know a lot of your other guests have talked about that vibration, bringing up those vibrations. The movie Monsters, Inc., that was what they found. They thought they were collecting all the energy from scaring children. They learned that laughter is so much better. And so just being authentic and being who you are and finding those little nuggets to love in life again.
Oh, I love that movie. That reminds me, I'm going to watch it again.
I'm a bad influence too, yeah.
So Amanda, let's talk about energy healing. So I know we are familiar with it, but I think a lot of audience is actually not really familiar. I think they might have a misconception about what it is. So can you walk us through, what does your session with the client look like from beginning to end, and how does the process take, and how would a transformation, I guess, how would a client know the transformation would happen or not?
How do they know they actually got it and that we didn't just sprinkle pixie dust on them?
Well, that's
good
a conception, right? It just think it's like woo crystals, we don't know.
Woo and crystals. So it kind of depends. There's so many different things for people to use. And so there's probably nearly as many different healing methods as there are people who are interested in them. I personally, most of my formal training is in theta healing. And so theta healing is where I utilize a theta brainwave to work with people in order to co-create. And we look at what your bottom belief is. And what's really the coolest part about theta healing is I don't need your story. You don't have to go through all of the things that brought you to where you're at and needing services. We don't have to rehash it. We don't pull it back up and relive it and go through it all again. We're able to look at that belief and see what happened, because when we're born, we're just innocent little creatures, and I believe that we're humans, or souls having a human experience. And when that human experience, we really live it for a while. So about the time that we're 6, 7 years old, we start absorbing all of the other human things, and we forget about that intuition that we know. So I work with people to teach them how to start listening to their intuition, and then how to identify these feelings. And then I work to really remove those limits. So something happens and your subconscious gives you a memory of, this is not a good thing, we shouldn't do this again. And then every time you come across it, your subconscious goes, oh, remember this is a problem, don't go there. Those are all good things. As we learn them, they have a place, they have a position in our life. But as we get older and we grow and we learn other skills, those things are not necessarily still important. And so when we have a way to get rid of those things that hold us back, then we can move forward. We can get past them. That one stuck thing. You know, I had another gal the other night just called me. She says, I really can't get past this. I know better. I can do better, but I can't get past it. 20 minutes later, she's like, wow. That was really big. And today, 3 days later, she's still saying, this was awesome. I'm still seeing the effects. So in a regular traditional session, I work with people and teaching them kinesiology, or muscle testing. A lot of people know it as the sway test. And so I teach you how to use that. So you're going to muscle test that you do or don't have this belief, and then we're going to change it, and you're going to muscle test it and know that has changed. And if it hasn't changed, then we need to go a little deeper, and that's what we do. So most of my sessions are, kind of depends on what the day is. It can be anywhere from 45 minutes, 90 minutes. When I do work with folks in the divorce realm, usually when they first come to me, we meet more frequently, and then we meet later. But I do one-off sessions as well as package sessions up to 3 months. This is very quick stuff. I want you to enjoy your healing and go live your life. And if you have a problem again down the road, come back. We'll talk about whatever comes up later. But yeah.
So you mentioned theta healing. Is there specific tools that you use with the clients?
That is theta. So it's me going to a theta brainwave. And finding those negative beliefs and then being able to release them through a co-creation process with whoever the person that I'm working with, whoever their higher power, God, creator, source, spirit, whoever that is. And that's who I work with to create that. So yeah, it's quick.
Yeah, so it's an interesting thing because I think a lot of people don't know that they are stuck.
No.
Like how would a person know that they're stuck on something or not?
Well, I think that society tells us very clearly, you're supposed to be married, you're supposed to have an education, a car, the picket fence, and the 2.5 children. And when you have all of those things that society says you're supposed to have, and you're still not happy, you're stuck. It doesn't have to be a mud pile. It doesn't have to be messy. It just has to be, you're not getting to where you want to be, where you know you need to be, where you know you're going to be happiest. And so we look at that. And when you're not happy and looking forward to every day, then you're probably stuck. And you don't have to know what it is you're stuck about. And it doesn't have to be divorce, because before I was a divorce coach, I was a healer. So
I guess, you as an energy healer, do you get clients that kind of compare you to maybe like a psychiatrist or?
So a lot of times what I can tell you is that there is a place for traditional therapy with a therapist, psychiatrist, psychologist. Theta healing, we work in the belief that those trapped feelings cause those diseases, and diagnoses. So it kind of depends on where you're at. This does not take the place of a therapist. And when folks go through a really heavy depression, they do need to reach out to those licensed therapists and counselors. This does not take the place. But oftentimes, it kind of runs in the background and it helps you to complete those goals in therapy as well. With physical ailments, if you think about what was going on around the time that this ailment started with you, we can look and see what those things are there that maybe are causing that block. And because you have a block that's that significant, it's resulting in your physical health problems.
Well, I can definitely see how there's a lot of gaps with traditional medicine and psychiatry, and then you're definitely helping people fill the gap. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, Amanda, we can talk about your book.
Okay, great.
An empowered life has no expiration date. We're all created to do incredible things, like conquer summits, catch big waves, and live our passions. As time goes on, our bodies begin to show signs that things just aren't as they used to be. Our energy levels decline, sleep patterns shift, and recovery slows. But our bodies are masterpieces of design, holding the potential to bounce back better than ever. With X39, we achieved something remarkable in the field of wellness and regenerative science that others could not. By utilizing LifeWave's unique patented technology, X39 uses light to elevate GHKCU, a copper peptide known to support overall health and wellness. Unlike traditional light therapy, which requires external light sources, X39 uses the body's own infrared light to naturally increase vitality, enhancing the body's flow of natural energy for improvements in strength, stamina, performance, and overall health and well-being, with the simplicity of an affordable, non-invasive, non-transdermal patch. As we age, levels of these life-enhancing elements, which are associated with wellness and longevity, begin to decline. LifeWave invested 10 years into stem cell research, which resulted in over 70 patents. X39 was born to bring to the public a product that can support wellness in an entirely new way, supporting the production of younger, healthier cells with wearable light technology. Becoming a powerhouse is easier than you think. Harness your body's natural potential to maintain youthful energy and vitality, because life comes at you fast, but it doesn't have to pass you by. Live long, live well, live young. Be the light with LifeWave X39. LifeWave.
Welcome back to Chronic Health Collectives. So we're continuing on with Amanda. So Amanda, we talked about energy healing. How did you, what inspired you to write your book?
So actually, when I was in the process of writing my book, it was really interesting because I was in networking with a lot of individuals who had written their book. They were authors, publishers. It was just really cool. And it's like, oh, well, that's really great for you guys. I don't think I'll ever want to do that. And I was working with a coach, and this coach said one of the things to get to know me, to get to understand where I was coming from, what I wanted to do, where I was going, they wanted my story. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I put it off, and I stayed up way too late in the middle of the night, writing out the basis of my life story from the time I was born to the time that I was writing this. And I thought, oh, that's pretty easy. I think I could write a book. And then I had surgery. And I thought, well, in surgery, they're telling me I'm going to be down for some time because I had a total hip replacement and that I'm not going to be up and doing. So that would be the perfect time to write my book. And so that's what I did. I wrote my book.
Great book.
And a lot of people, when they're writing their book, every one of us has a story or 10 in us. We have a story to write. And I encourage everyone to write that story. I'm one of the few people that wrote the story and actually got it published. but you need to write that story. And there's tons of resources out there. There's amazing people who are there to help you, to support you through the process of writing a book. And when I find that I recommend a lot of people write their book, it's more about doing the therapy. It's very cathartic for a lot of people to write their book. Writing the book is a huge piece of the therapy you do. For me, I had done so much theta work and other healing work that my book, actually, I did write it very quickly and it was easy, but I do see a lot of people going through writing their book as their therapy, and then get it published. It was one of the things that people have commented, that I used my name on it. It's a memoir and it is my name. It's my story. How can you get to know me when that's my purpose? I want you to read this story so that you can understand where I'm coming from. I'm a girl from the Midwest. I put my pants on one leg at a time, but I chose to make bigger decisions and do bigger things for other people.
That's perfect. So, Amanda, our theme this month is gratitude. So can you maybe share with our audience like a personal story of how gratitude has been a catalyst for growth in your life?
Gratitude is a huge, huge part of my life. Before undertaking this whole healing stuff, I didn't really think about it. I know we need to say thank you and we need to have general manners and we need to make nice to people. But the reality is when you really start thinking about the words you say and then take it a little bit further and think about the thoughts you have. And so when I was first working with Tanya, and she's like, you can't talk that way. That's negative. You can't say those things. And you certainly cannot talk to yourself the way you do. I mean, a lot of us have some really, really negative self-talk. We say things to ourselves we wouldn't say to our enemy. And you got to quit that. You've got to be grateful. You're grateful for your health. Okay, so you had a couple of flaws on the way, but overall you got good health. Be thankful for that. And one of the things it was, when you catch yourself saying or thinking something negative, you need to throw it out. And in the beginning, I would have most of these thoughts when I was in the car driving by myself, and I would envision myself throwing them out. And I just knew I was going to get some traffic tickets for littering, And I find that the more, and there is that phrase that if you don't show that you are thankful, if you're not thankful for what you have, you're going to lose it. And so by being thankful for what you have, you then have the ability to attract and manifest more. But if you're not thankful for the things you have, you're going to lose that and more. So you really need to be thankful. And I look at it kind of like looking at the silver lining. When we start looking for that silver lining, you start looking for whatever it is that's positive in the day. I spilled my coffee. I am so thankful I have dogs to clean up my floor. You drop something. I'm glad my toast landed butter side up. I'm glad it spilled on the tile, not the carpet. Be thankful for those silly little things. Be thankful for clean air and a warm home to live in. Be thankful for all of those things. And what happens when you start picking out those silly little things, that sense of humor again, pick out those silly things that you can be genuinely thankful for, it gets really super easy to be thankful for the big things. And you're going to start seeing the big things, because as you start looking for those things that you're grateful for, you're going to see more and more. And I really see this when I go back and I visit places that I used to frequent. And I'm there and I'm like, oh, it's really negative here. I'm glad I only have a little bit of business to do here. And you find yourself, as you become more positive, you're vibrating at a higher and higher energy level. And it's harder and harder to go to those places, to go to the businesses that just aren't fun and they don't have good energy. And so as you bring your energy up, you find more people that have good energy to share with you.
That's interesting. So, Amanda, I think you had an experience in classic car restoration.
Mm-hmm.
So Andy had in his past life, he worked at a garage. So I can remember how intense that energy can be. Do you have a similar experience?
I think that, so for my classic car, my first husband and I bought this car back when we were in college. So I have had this car since 1988. I've had this car longer than I've had anything in my life.
What kind of car is it?
I have a 1974 Dodge Challenger. And for all of those in the know, it's a 318 3-speed 60 over Keith Black pistons. Okay, there. Now we've got it.
Thank you.
So I personally didn't do a lot of the work on the car, but being able to look at the car and appreciate the car for the age that it is and to respect it and to keep it as original as possible, which means you don't just walk into the parts store and get a new fender. You're going to wait. It's going to be, or this last summer I was at an auction and I came across some fenders and doors. There's new shelves in my shed to support my auto parts. Hopefully I never need them. But being able to look at a classic, and that's kind of like looking at a human. We have our basic structure and our foundations of where we come from. What are the things that I'm willing to change with my car? I can't get that interior anymore, so I had to go with a plain black interior. What are the changes as you go through life and you look at your goals? What is your ultimate goal? My ultimate goal in that car is it's my grocery getter. Yes, I take it to car shows just because there aren't a lot of challengers. I don't expect to win. I expect to have fun and give myself time to sit in the shade and watch people and just be positive. So, but as it relates to what I do, it's really cool to be able to look at, okay, this is the foundation. This is what we're starting with. And this is our dream. What are we making out of you? What car are you going to be going down the road? Are you going to still have a 318 in it? Are you going to a 440? Are you going to a twin carb? I don't know. But I'll be there to support you and to do the best that I can to bring your dream to life.
Well, I can definitely sense the respect and the patience that you have towards classic car and people.
And people.
So do you have the same perspective in your approach when you're dealing with clients?
Yeah, very much so. It's what can we build for them? This is who they are. We're not going to change you as a human. We can make you we can improve different parts, but we're not going to change the foundation of who you are. And even when you get rid of those limiting beliefs that have really held you back, you're going to see such a shining new person. I mean, I talk about the old me, and it literally is an old me. People who knew me 5-10 years ago can truly appreciate the person that I've changed and become. And so I want to help people with that. We're not changing your foundation. We don't change that those things happened in your life, but we change that they're not emotional anymore. They don't have to hurt you to the core. You don't have to be upset every time you think about them. Now they can be a matter of fact in your book.
So Amanda, you being an entrepreneur and you being a mother, it requires a lot of resilience, a lot of patience. How has cultivating gratitude helped you navigate these roles, and how do you help your clients find gratitude with their own life challenges? So
my children, unfortunately, were younger. My 5 or 10 years, the old me. My kids got old me. They really like new me. My daughter says, you've really done a lot of personal growth. It's like, yes, I have. But now as a mom, I can better appreciate them as the amazing young adults that they are. I have 2 daughters. And when they call me, I don't have to judge what they're doing. I can appreciate what they're doing, and I can help them to find the positives of like, okay, so you got a noise complaint because your dog was crying through her bath. This is how we're gonna do it. Be glad it was a warning. You have time. You can talk to the neighbors. You can change things up, and not taking as, oh no, I'm gonna have to go get the U-Haul and drive you away or anything like that. But we can just look at all the good things and not get drugged down by, this really could be emotional. And it was very emotional in the moment. But to be able to rephrase that, look at the positive things. You lived there 10 months and you didn't have a noise complaint on a husky. I think that's pretty amazing. Let's go for another 10 months. This was a rare thing that happened. So being able to put that in and allowing time, I think one of the biggest things we talk about this work-life balance. Well, I don't know that work and life ever truly balance, but we can have a harmony. Yeah, we can have a harmony. We can have an agreeable part, and it's not, balance to me implies, 70-30, 50-50. Somebody's
Right.
always getting the short end of the stick. But when you can create that harmony and that, then you've got agreeability in that. When my children were younger, I did own a graphics business. And so they got to come to the store. And actually, I just gone into the graphics business while I was pregnant. I left social work and started a new business. I had no clue what I was doing, but I did it, and I did it well for 13 years. And so my daughter was literally born into that business, and she worked there. And when it was time for her to go to kindergarten, we did a going out to lunch. We did a going away lunch party for her and everything. But what was the coolest part about being an entrepreneur when the kids were younger is I didn't have to miss ball games or choir or community play. And my favorite story, and it's in my book too, is my daughter and I agreed that school lunch is not always the favorite thing in the world. But there is one thing that you cannot get anywhere else, and that is the Salisbury steak. and my daughters and I, all three of us, we love Salisbury steak. But I even talked to the lunch lady about it. They can only get it like once a year because of budgetary constraints or everything. And I get a call at the store one day. It's, Mom, it's Salisbury steak day. I got one for you. So I hit save on my computer. I had a very dependable employee, Diane. She was a godsend to our family. And I went out the door because we live in a very small town. So I was just a few blocks from the school. I walked in. My daughter had my Salisbury steak on her tray with an extra fork. And so I went and joined her, and we had lunch together. And I didn't have to worry. I own my own business. I have reliable employees. I'm in a small town, and I got to spend time with my daughter. And that was awesome. And of course, it was in the same school I went to. So it was like old home days. So yeah, being able to find those things that we get to honor our family with our work time. And gosh, if your employer can't understand it's Salisbury Steaks Day, it'd be a problem for me.
Andy actually makes a great Salisbury steak. He hasn't done it in a long time.
I make one, and my oldest daughter, when she went to college, she goes, I can't find the recipe anywhere. It's like, well, it's my recipe, so you probably can't find it. So I shared it.
So Amanda, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we will chat a little more.
Okay, great.
is like a lightning rod. It's energy that's coming in, tremendous energy that's coming in. It's up to every single one of us of what we're going to do with that energy.
Welcome to Chronic Health Collective. So today we have Amanda Beth with us. So Amanda, before the break, we talked about your entrepreneurial experience and your family. So I actually do want to ask you, is there a minimum age that you can treat clients with energy healing? Does it work for kids?
No, there's not. Usually we're going to work more with a parent, and I would always want a parent to be present. I would also want a parent to give their permission. And so we're going to work with the parent present. And I have worked with teenagers after their parent knew what they were going to do and everything. They did attend their sessions, but I want to make sure the parents know what we're doing. And if they have any questions, it does kind of fall into that, there needs to be a level of confidentiality there. I'm not going to run everything to, their parent, but the parent needs to be aware that this is going on. So no, I don't think that there is an age that's too young necessarily, especially if you have the parent there working as a proctor to do that. I have also worked with individuals who have had some learning deficits. And working again, this young man he was a young adult, but he still lived at home with his mom. And so we worked with some of those things. I know I was at an event and there was a young man and he was 9 or 10 years old and he was an accomplished musician and he had a solo coming up at the school. And this was going to be just in a couple of days. And he was so nervous. And so we did just a little bit of work to take away that nervousness so that he didn't have to be so nervous in his performance. I talked to the dad a couple of nights later and he had an amazing performance and he just had the self-confidence. So it's my hopes that will continue. I mean, he didn't continue with me as a client, but just to be able to know that just a few minutes of work can alleviate that anxiety, and even in a child. Yes.
That is great. So let me just ask you, what is the most bizarre block that you've ever encountered?
Oh, goodness. So a lot of times when we do healings, we're getting information from the ethers, from spirit, from guide, from source, and sometimes they don't make a whole lot of sense. And I remember myself, I was in a healing session and we had a lot of breakthroughs and it came down to, I don't know what it is. It's something about pink crumblies. I don't know what pink crumblies meant, but anytime I said pink crumblies, it would have just dropped me to my knees. It was upsetting in this session. So we released whatever pink crumbly was and I felt much better afterwards. So, and I've had folks work on different things like that. I've worked with victims of sexual abuse, just a whole bunch of things. And I think back to my years as a social worker, working with families that were ready to lose their kids to foster care placement. And I always thought I was being Susie social worker. And the reality is, if I think back, honestly, on those times that I came up with something that would work. It wasn't necessarily in a social work handbook, but it was something that met that family's need right then. And when I look back, that was my intuition telling me what that family needed right then and there, that was able to save those family units and prevent that foster care placement. So, yeah, I've worked in a lot of really different fields, done some pretty cool stuff.
So when you're dealing with clients, how do you stay grounded and how do you maintain your own energy balance when you're helping others? Like in my head, I feel like when you're helping others with energy healing, you're almost like using your own energy to heal it, or am I like completely off?
So it kind of depends on what you're using. According to Vienna Steibel, who she is the creator of the Theta Healing Method, and she talks about the different planes of existence. And so when we use rocks or crystals, they take an energy. You know, they take something from us, we give to them. It's a back and forth. When we use theta, there's not an exchange there. So I can do theta healings all day long and not really get tired. I know when I first started in the metaphysical world back in the 90s, I was doing different shows, and I actually did psychographology. So I was analyzing handwriting. Because so if it's just handwriting, it's graphology, but because I have a degree in psychology, it's psychographology. Yeah, makes it sound important, I guess. But I could only do probably 4, maybe 5 of those readings a day, and I was very drained. And so it kind of looks at where you get your energy sources from. But anyone who's doing any type of energy work, it's always important that you ground, that you get grounded. And so using like the tree meditation where you visualize your feet going down into the earth and bringing up that energy. And so making sure that you are grounded, and that is important. And sometimes you know what, when you just go into a store that they've had really heavy energy and you go out and you're like, whew, I gotta wipe this off of me, you know, or you go in somewhere that's just a little too happy and you're like, oh, I need to protect myself, or protecting yourself from the anger. And so that's some of the things that we teach in Welcome to the Woo. I'm also I'm a coach with Kelly Sparta, but there's classes to teach you how to do this. And I teach a Boundaries for Empaths class as well, and have resources on my site that help you to bring in your energetic container so that you're not spilling out your energy and seeping up other people's energy. And so when you mix those energies, it gets hard. It's like, is this my thing? Is that their thing? Am I tired because I'm feeling their energy, or am I tired because I'm tired and I need a nap? And so, yeah, pulling in those containers is really, really an important skill. And it is something that I think energy workers don't talk about. And there are some that just go out and do whatever they do, and they don't take that time and take care of themselves. And that's where they get wore out, they get tired, they get psychic attack. There's all kinds of things that can happen.
So Amanda, I think you got a lot of audience curious about energy healing. At the same time, I think you're going to have a lot of people that are skeptical about what you can do. How do you handle the skeptics? How do you convince them that energy healing works?
So the biggest way, I invite you to just come and have a discovery session with me. And in the discovery session, gives you the opportunity to ask all those questions, and I'm able to give you a sampler of what it feels like to actually receive a theta healing. And so you can decide for yourself, do you enjoy my humor and my sense of my personality? Am I a good fit for you? Does it seem like this is, it's like when you go to a new store, a new beautician, anyone who's new, you need to interview them. And so this is your opportunity to interview me, get a sample of what theta feels like, and decide if that's the right thing for you. So I do discovery sessions.
So let's bring it back to gratitude a little bit. Can you explain how embracing gratitude can enhance the effectiveness of the energetic and the spiritual healing practices?
So I think the gratitude is one of the simplest things that you can do to raise your vibrational energy. And as you raise your vibrational energy, you are just in a better, more positive mindset. And so it may not have been the best outcome that you wanted, but if you can find a couple of little nuggets of positivity there and focus on those, everything else grows and blooms from there. So I think that's what is going to bring you the most life satisfaction that you can have.
So for the audience out there, how would you ensure that your services are non-judgmental and that is they can feel safe with you?
I feel that I've had a lot of life experiences. The different careers that I've had over the years have given me the time to kind of go, oh my. But I also, I'm not asking you to come live at my house. And you're not asking me to come live at your house. I mean, when it comes down to it, at the bottom of the day, I don't ask you to do things exactly like I do. So it's not in my place to judge you. That's just, and we work a lot, and I know that this has been it's been a topic in the healing world of how do you get completely out of judging, because we still need to have our opinions. And so there's difference of having an opinion and judging. And like I said, I've done a lot of different careers, and I've worked with a lot of different people, and I've seen a lot of different things. And I look at each of those different things. If it's different to me, then that's my opportunity to learn. And if there's something that I don't understand, I'm really pretty good at saying, okay, this doesn't make any sense. Can you help me understand it? And I think that a lot of things that we judge are things that we just don't understand. And if we would take the time to ask some questions and to learn from people, that it would be so much easier. Instead of just going, well, doesn't make sense to me, I'm on down the road. No, let's find out. Ask questions. Get to know people and understand them and appreciate them. We all have really cool things to bring to this world.
So, Amanda, you are creative and you're funny. So can you share with us maybe an instance where your humor helped ease a client, I guess, to make them more comfortable during a session?
Usually people have a story about how they got to the situation. And I think that a lot of times, I know I'm nervous the first time I meet with people, and they're nervous. And if we can just share, gosh, did you have problems getting logged in Zoom? And we just take it away from, let's talk about some silly stuff here. What's going on? Did you get through the traffic okay? And just talking about those things. Did this update? Did that update? Just kind of some questions that aren't just, you're not going right for the throat. It's like, okay, well, you showed up to talk about this. Let's talk about it. No, you're a human. And so kind of that breaking the ice type things, where people will say, oh, this happened, and they're so embarrassed. I can probably almost out embarrass everybody on things that I have done in my life. So I'm not too worried about it. And again, I'm not judging a person. If they come in and they have a bad day, we can say, oh, they say, well, this, and this happened. I say, well, at least this didn't happen. And we usually laugh. So.
Well, I feel like I can trust you. And I think our audience is also getting a feeling that they can definitely trust you. So Amanda, one last question, and this is out of the blue. We're into the Halloween spirit. So if you were an energy superhero, what would your custom costume look like, and what would be your super move?
Oh, goodness. Well, actually, I I do have a costume that I've worn for many years, and it's a bar winch. It's a
What is it?
Renaissance period bar winch. So it's got the off the shoulders, just kind of looking like a hot mama. And usually it's just kind of, yeah, I just want to kind of blend in with people and watch people and see it all happen. And my superpower would be at the end of the night to just clean up the party and make everyone feel good about being there and not allowing anybody to not have a good time.
That's amazing. Thank you, Amanda. We learned so much from you today. So, Amanda, tell us how the audience can find you, and how do you work with them? Is it a one-on-one in person, on Zoom? How do you do your work, and how do people reach you?
The easiest way to find me is at amandabethhealing.com. And do my contact stuff. We've got a lovely QR code here, but if you're just listening online, find me online. And I do one-on-one virtual sessions. I can do in person, but Southeast Iowa does not hit very many roadmaps. So yes, energy healing, it's energy. Energy is not created or destroyed. So we're able to do those. I do have global clients, people around the world that I work with. So we're able to do that. I do also do some group things. And I know most people are like, oh, I don't want to go to the group. I don't want anybody to hear me or know me. But the reality is a group session is really a good place. And I've been the one too. I don't want to be in a group session either. When you're in my groups, those groups are vetted. Those people are going to be safe. If anyone's not going to be safe, they're not in my program. But it also helps you to know that you're not the only one. And the people who come together at the same time usually are having a lot of the same issues. And you can experience the group healings. I do group healings on Tuesdays on Zoom. It's just a 15, 20-minute pop in and get whatever healing you need, or the healings that I feel are necessary that I'm getting from Source that we need to go over that day. And so you can experience it that way as well. Primarily, it's one-on-one. So.
Wow, Amanda, I had a great time talking to you. So is there any last words you want to advise our audience?
Just thank you for having me here. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to present to you and to your audience. And I would love to have any other questions that people have. Challenge me as a healer. That's fine. That's okay. That's how you learn. That's how you grow. So yeah, just get a hold of me, and definitely let the Chronic Health Collective know what else you're wanting to hear, because we want to hear from you too.
For sure. Thank you, Amanda. It's such a great interview. So join us back here every Tuesday at 7 p.m. CST. You can watch past episodes at watch.e360tv.com, in the Vitality TV network, on our YouTube channel at Chronically Healthy Life. And if you'd like to know more about the Chronic Health Collective, visit our website, radio at chronichealthcollective.com. We'll see you next time. Thank you, Amanda.
Bye-bye.